Hey, what's up, guys? It's Hayden.
Hey, and I'm Emma. Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us once again, and welcome to the channel if you are brand new to us. Today we're going to be discussing and reviewing the final ever season of 13 Reasons Why, a Netflix original show that we've been big fans of right from the beginning. And it is sad to see the show go, but I have to say, also a little bit of a relief because I'm kind of over the emotional roller coaster you go on with
Takes
this
a bit
show.
of an emotional toll on you, doesn't
It does.
Yeah.
It's quite an exhausting show. It does touch on some very serious real world topics, and they don't hold back on confronting you. So, in that sense, it's kind of nice to have a breather, but some really brilliant acting, a great cast in this show. It was a joy to watch them all, and fantastic writing. So, we'll be discussing the final season. We will try and be as spoiler free as possible at the beginning at least, but we will probably go into some spoilers at the end.
And look, if you haven't seen the first 3 seasons, you probably need to go and watch those because we are inevitably going to have to spoil some of the moments from the first 3 seasons while discussing season 4.
Yeah.
So, please do that. But if you're up to date, then lock yourselves in and we'll start discussing the last final season of 13 Reasons Why.
Yep. So, thoughts?
Well, season 4 follows on from the events of season 3. So Bryce has been murdered. We've now discovered who. But Winston, who, as we know, is the one that got with Monty at the end of season 3, he's become a little bit of an investigator. He wants to get transferred to Liberty to get around the Clay and the gang and to try and unravel the mystery of who really killed Bryce. So this is obviously not very good news for Clay and the gang. They're trying to kind of keep that mystery covered up and just kind of move on with their lives. But as we know in this show, it's not that easy. They don't really get to just move on with their lives like that. They've, in this season, they are overcoming a lot of obstacles, dealing with, I guess, the guilt of covering that up and their own personal demons, especially Clay, who goes on a bit of a journey in this one, dealing with a lot of anxiety, stress, hallucinations, mental health, and he is probably, I guess, the main kind of arc that we're following through this season. This season is kind of very Clay-centric in that regard.
I mean, all the seasons kind of have been, but this was, definitely more centered around Clay, and it was really, following him and how the events of the past 3 seasons have essentially affected him, and he's suffering from PTSD.
Yeah, which is understandable considering everything they've
He's been through a lot for a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, they're
they all
high
have.
school students.
Yeah,
I mean,
all of them have been through a shit show, really. So
I think it was good that they, I guess, touched on that, anxiety, PTSD, mental health, because I think that is, something important in today's society. It's something that a lot of kids go through. A lot of kids have been through trauma, have been brought up abused or something like that. So, and it's understandable that Clay would be going through that at this point because of everything that he's gone through. Like all the other seasons, this season does touch on a lot of real world, themes, especially around what a lot of teenagers go through. So, mental health and anxiety with Clay. It also touches a little bit more on like racism, school shootings.
yeah,
So all of that's still there. I mean, it's still carrying on those themes from previous seasons and still touching a lot of relevant issues, which I think has always been 13 Reasons' strong point, and it does do that well. Now, I actually think this is probably one of the weaker seasons.
yeah.
And my reasoning behind that is I think the first 3 seasons did a good job of keeping this relatively within reality. So keeping it realistic. So a lot of us can kind of relate a bit more to it. Relate a bit more to the characters and about what they're going through.
Yeah.
This one, I felt like it almost, what's the term, jumped the shark a little bit.
Is that at the term?
It could be, I'm not sure. I could be making it up. It's going to catch on now, though. It'll be a thing now.
Jump the gun.
Jump the gun. No, I think it just kind of went a little bit over the top in a couple of moments. It almost felt like a commentary on what society could be in another few years if these issues aren't resolved. That's what it almost felt like to me. It's like if we don't talk about this and solve these things now, this is what could happen. These are the extremes we could get to. It almost felt like a commentary on that rather than like a realistic look and portrayal of these themes.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. And I do agree that this season is probably, for me as well, the weakest. It was still very enjoyable though, and there was definitely still some really heartbreaking moments. But yeah, I don't know. There was just something about, I think, the first and the second season especially that were, they just impacted me on another level. And yeah, I think that was sort of what was missing with this season. Although still, as I said, very enjoyable. And I won't spoil anything, but there was, a very beloved character that we did lose again in this season. So that was quite horrible and very emotional to watch.
I think both of us had a couple of tears
Yeah.
in the eyes after that. So I mean, look, it does that well. Like, it does those emotional beats really well. That is, again, the strong part of 13 Reasons Why.
And I think it's a credit again to the actors. They're a very young cast, but they're very solid and the
can't fault the acting.
No.
Really. The acting was solid throughout. Some really standout performances.
Yeah. Their emotional range.
Yeah.
Because
they have to kind of portray a lot, don't they? They've kind of got to these characters that have gone through all of this, and they're gonna have like lighter moments, and they're gonna have these really deep emotional moments and dark moments. So they do that so well. So it's a really good cast. And if you enjoy the acting and the cast, I think you're definitely going to enjoy this season for that, because it doesn't fall flat when it comes to the acting performances. It's just what they've got to work with. It's just a little bit over the top. And there's also a thing where I think some characters just don't really face any consequences for their actions. There's no, I guess, stakes or consequences for what they do, because some of the actions of the characters in this season, they should be, suspended and getting some help. But no, they just kind of, they're back at school again the next day. It's like,
that's where it sort of starts to get a bit unrealistic and
I think that's going to be the biggest flaw with this season, and probably the thing that's going to annoy people the most. And I get that, and that's what I was saying. It almost feels like it's a commentary on what could happen in the future, like the extremes we could get to if we're not touching on these issues and fixing these issues now. It didn't feel like a realistic portrayal. But still enjoyable. And I think if you have watched the first 3 seasons and you enjoyed those, I think you need to watch this just to wrap up the series, wrap up everyone's arcs, because there are some good moments.
Absolutely, it's still definitely worth watching, and to get that closure as well. We the stuff that is shown in these shows, this very emotional, traumatic stuff that these characters go through. We're on the journey with them, and you're so invested in their stories and everything that's happened to them that I think it's still worth, getting that closure from this massive journey we've been on with them, So, definitely still watch it.
I think the only other flaw I kind of want to touch on from a technical perspective is there was a couple of effect shots that just looked a bit obvious. Like visual effect shots and stuff in a couple of moments looked a little bit obvious. But this one was a tough one. This one was a tough one because you hit those emotional beats. The acting was great. You got to see everyone's arcs wrap up, so that was satisfying. But at the same time, you just had some questionable effects, and also some moments, some story beats and plot lines that were just a little bit far-fetched and over the top. That kind of almost ruined the story, but not quite. But
Anyway, I think we might talk about some.
I think we've got to go into some spoilers, because I want to. I'm almost I have to restrain myself. To going into spoilers. So I think
If you haven't seen season 4 yet, watch it.
Yes.
We do recommend you still watch it. But we're going to talk spoilers now, so jump off.
Jump off now.
But if you have seen it, stick around, and we'll talk about some of the things that we liked and we disliked with this last season.
Alright, so spoilers coming in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I touched a lot on the moments that kind of jumped the shark or got a little bit extreme. And I think the big one of those moments was the riot. The school, obviously got all these security measures in place, and the kids didn't like and kind of revolted, and this all came after the other kind of extreme event, which was the school shooting drill, which they actually did with police officers and what I assume was like blanks or something, like to replicate gun sounds, to simulate gun sounds. So we all know that there would be, you know, school shooting drills in the States, but the extreme that this show went to, actually having like gun sounds and all that, that just I don't see that happening, or like, because that would just be so traumatic for the kids.
Yeah, and well, wasn't it that the parents were also in on it, or knew it was going to go ahead?
I don't think the parents knew. I think only the principal knew. No, like because the principals, you know, he didn't even let the like the teachers know.
Yeah.
The teachers didn't even know it was a drill.
That's right.
Yeah, and like I get that they need to do drills, and I assume they would do drills over there in the States. But that just seemed like an extreme. Like,
yeah, if you're in America and you're in high school,
yeah, if you can comment on that.
Do they actually do anything like that?
Yeah.
If so, that's messed up.
Please let us know, because that just seems so traumatic for the kids, and kids that have already been through so much. Yeah. And the school knew this. The school knew what these kids had gone through the first 3 seasons. They'd watched the first 3 seasons. They've got it on DVD, you know. And they still did it. Like, I don't know. That just seemed way over the top. It seemed like a plot point just to get them to that next level, to kind of hit like that breaking point, to get the students to like, revolt. And look, the actual, protest and revolt, I didn't really have an issue with, because, that would make sense, and I'm sure that is something that would be plausible. But where it kind of, again, went to the extreme is where they got the riot police to come in, and they had like their riot shields and everything, and then the principal pretty much just, told them to take down the students, and then they got into this brawl, and these cops are like hitting students, and no, it just wouldn't happen.
Or would it? Again, if you're in America, does this happen? We didn't believe it.
I don't think it would happen.
It was a bit too extreme. Like, they're school kids. Surely they don't
That's what I mean. It almost
treated
felt
like
it was a commentary on the extremes that we could get to if things keep going this way. That's what I mean. It just didn't feel realistic.
Yeah. I wondered with the simulated school shooting, if maybe it was the show trying to satisfy the audience for the fact that the shooting didn't go ahead in, was it season 2? That Tyler was potentially going to do it. I wondered if, because it didn't happen then, they still wanted to go ahead with a shooting of some sort, and this was, because you
got to see these kids actually dealing with it in the moment, which I think that part was good.
Yeah,
that part was good. Don't get me wrong. And if it was just that, then I would have been happy with it. But no, it just kind of like the whole like live drill thing just kind of
didn't sit well.
It.
Yeah.
It just kind of ruined it. So I get what you mean. Like, I think that it touched on a different side of the school shooting thing, because we got to see it from the shooter's side before with Tyler. We got to see it from the shooter's side and what drives someone to become a school shooter. This time we saw it from the victim's side of things. So we got to see what they go through in that moment. And as I said, I think all that was great. Everything leading up to that, to the end of that episode, was fantastic. And then they kind of just ruined it with that twist, that unrealistic twist. So
do you think you would have enjoyed it more if it was a genuine shoot, like there was actually a school shooter and it wasn't a drill?
Yes, maybe. Or even just, if they were going to go like the whole drill thing, just make it a normal drill. Like,
but then it probably wouldn't have had the impact.
No, they don't have the impact. So I guess that's that line.
Like, you wouldn't have been able to see that emotional trauma the students were going through.
I think they needed to make it an actual shooting.
But then the show would probably get shit again because they went a bit too far with the confronting stuff. I don't know if the show could win.
So yeah, it was that and the whole riot thing that just didn't really sit too well with me. And then like we said, it was the other thing was the parents kind of tracking their kids, the school and their parents tracking their kids through an app, which a guy named, I think Dave or something, developed in a couple of weeks. Just put this app together and we can track our kids everywhere. We can see what they're doing and read their texts and stuff. I mean, no invasion of privacy at all.
I mean, there's stuff out there for parents to do that sort of in their own time anyway, but the fact that a school has kind of encouraged it seems a bit weird.
Like, you can track, like, there's phone trackers and stuff, and obviously you can monitor your kids' emails and stuff, but it was like an app that could do it all. Like, it had all of it in there, and at any moment you could like access their stuff from your phone.
Oh yeah, they could like read their text messages and stuff.
Yeah. And that just seemed, well, not only like an invasion of privacy and could, has some legal issues that comes with that. But yeah, also just a little bit far-fetched. Like, I don't know if that's something that would happen. Again, this felt like an extreme. It felt like this is what could happen if we keep going. It felt like a commentary on an extreme measure that we could be looking at in a few years.
Yeah.
And the more I talk about it, the more that seems plausible. The more that seems like where they were going. I don't know. I could be a conspiracy theorist. I'm here with my tinfoil hat. I don't know. But yeah, those moments I think just kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Just kind of took me out. Like, you want to be able to relate to these characters, understand what they're going through, and those moments just kind of threw me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Almost as if I was watching like the Gecko agrees. If I was watching just some like dystopian future kind of movie, where like society's breaking down.
Yeah.
And then also, just the consequences of, well, Clay's actions for one. So he's like graffitied a school, walked into a dance with fake blood and a knife, has a mental breakdown after the fake school shooting drill, and steals a cop's gun and just goes crazy. And there's little to no consequences. I think he gets put in a mental institution for like a few hours and then escapes.
And they're like, oh, that's okay, you can go home now.
Escapes by shitting his pants.
He just pulls his pants.
He doesn't even clean it himself.
I'm like watching this like, oh, he must have just pretended that he's shat his pants. Yeah. But no, he apparently did.
Oh, they don't send him back. They just, no, you're fine to keep going and
run around in your shitty pants.
But he's back at school like a couple of days after. Like, there's no consequences.
Yeah.
And when there's no consequences, there's no stakes.
Yeah.
Because your character can do no wrong and they won't get into any trouble.
And the same with like walking into the police station yelling, I've got a gun.
I've got a gun. Yeah, at like the end of the season. Yeah, like.
I think, look, yes, he was getting help. He was seeing a therapist, but I just.
That's beyond therapy. Sorry, that's beyond therapy.
I think he needs some time out somewhere.
Yeah, he needed some serious help, and it was obvious that he needed it too. Like, he was
like more than what he was
passing
getting.
out in front of people, and people were like, "Are you alright?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, nothing else was said about it.
Yeah, like clearly he wouldn't be fine after all the trauma that he's experienced in the last year or two that the seasons have covered. Yeah. It's like this kid's gone through a lot. He's clearly not fine. Maybe do something a bit more than just a therapy session once or twice a week. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, it was a little bit unbelievable.
Gets into a car accident. Is at school the next day.
That was the most, I think for me, that was the most frustrating thing, was the fact that they set up this cliffhanger with the car crash.
They did that a couple of times. They did it with the car accident, and they did it with the guy that was about to shoot Tyler.
Yeah.
And Clay
stepped in,
and they were trying to stop him.
So there was another, there was a number of times.
And there was like a gunshot at the end, and there was like a cliffhanger, and then nothing happened in the next episode.
Like, don't do cliffhangers like that, especially with the car accident. I was like, shit, we're going to see like the aftermath. Like, that car didn't have a roof.
No, it was a convertible. They flipped over like a small cliff thing into like if that landed on the anyway. Really, they should have been so much more injured than it. But what? They have broken arm.
I mean, did they touch on how much time had passed since the accident?
No,
I don't know. I would have really liked, maybe it was a budget thing. I don't know, that they couldn't show a car wreck. But I just. Like,
someone should be in the hospital at the very least. Just, again, where's the stakes? Where's the consequences? That's, I think, what this season was missing. It's like, hey, you can do all this and you're still going to be able to go to school. You're still going to be able to go to college. They're college interviews. I'm surprised I haven't touched on this sooner. Their college interviews, they all bombed their college interviews. Like, no self-respecting college is going to accept kids that
do an interview like that.
That do an interview like that. Like, I'm sure there are students out there that did great interviews that probably didn't get into the school they wanted to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But no, everyone bombed their interviews, got into college anyway. It's like, hey, you can do all of this and you're still going to be fine, kid. You're still going to be fine.
And then the schools still elected Clay to do their graduation speech.
Yeah, I think it was the students that might have elected him. I think it was a student elected thing, yeah.
But still, he was like not on good terms with a lot of those
Yeah.
kids throughout this
A
season.
lot of convenient things, I think, just to push the story forward.
And have Clay wrapping up the season, I guess, with that. Look, it was a very moving speech, and
the speech itself is fine.
the speech itself was fine. It was just a little bit like, I don't believe that these kids would have really elected him to the. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
And I think with these kinds of things, this is probably where the writing gets a little bit bad. I think the writing's been great in the first couple of seasons. I think the writing in this one was kind of a letdown. But as the speech itself again was well written and stuff like that. Like there's nothing wrong with like I guess the dialogue and that kind of stuff. It was more I guess the plot points and the story points.
Yeah.
That kind of just
And how did you feel about, because I know there's been a few people getting upset and annoyed with the fact that Clay apparently sees people the people who have passed on, like he occasionally still sees Hannah and Bryce and
I think I was saying that if he was seeing those people, then he's more than just a little anxious and stressed and having a mental breakdown. Like he's actually got mental issues.
Yeah,
I didn't have an issue with it really. I just kind of associated it with his trauma and his PTSD and his mental issues, and I think it helped. It helped with the characters kind of talk and associate with some of the other characters that have passed, and maybe say what they couldn't say to them when they were alive.
Yeah, I mean I don't have an issue. I kind of feel like it was probably a creative choice that. Maybe Clay doesn't actually physically see these people. They're actually just physically there for the audience's benefit so that we can see who he's talking to.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense too.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if Clay is actually seeing them. And I think he might say something about that in the last scene of the season, that he doesn't actually see dead people. He's just having discussions with them in his head. Which, okay. I mean, people have thoughts and think about things that they would say to someone if they were still around, I don't have a big issue with that.
And he was doing that with Hannah. Like he was seeing Hannah after she died. So I think it's not like it's completely out of his character to see people or to talk to people after they passed. So I think that stuck with Clay's character and what he goes through and stuff. So I didn't have an issue with that really.
And the same with like Jessica, she sees Bryce a lot. I mean that could
if you go through something like that,
PTSD kind of thing again.
You might see them just like in a glimpse, just
or even just your thoughts.
Just in your thoughts, yeah.
But yeah, again, I feel like it might have been a bit more of a creative choice for the audience's benefit more than that the characters. That's what they were actually saying. I don't know. Anyway, that was just my thought on it, and I just knew that there was a few people who they didn't like the ghosts.
yeah. But I think what you said makes sense. Like it's not that he has to he physically sees them. It's just that's what the audience sees. That's what we need to see to kind of make sense of it all. And it's just them, the characters, talking to them in their head.
Yeah.
And I think we'll finish up by talking about Justin's death at the end of the season, which was heartbreaking. I mean, the way they did handle that. That emotional beat in the story, I think, worked really well.
I feel my eyes welling up again, just thinking about it.
Yeah, but I understand what a few people are saying, that AIDS doesn't work like that. It worked a little bit quicker in the show than what it does in real life. In real life, it kind of develops over a good few years, even the extreme cases. And this happened over a matter of weeks.
Well, we don't know when he contracted the disease.
Yeah, but I mean, even showing symptoms, it happens over like a couple. It's a slow decline.
Yeah, because I do remember, I think saying in one of the episodes, I was like, he's got this thing on his neck. I was like, what is that on his neck? Have they touched on it? Like, is it a hickey? What is it? But they never really addressed it, and
I kind of agree with what a few other people are saying, that they should have started the season off with him contracting HIV. And then the whole season, that's part of his story, is him dealing with that. And maybe that would have had a bit more of an emotional beat to it.
But still, I mean, how long how much time has
no,
passed in this season
yeah.
that it would have been believable.
Yeah.
Because I think the season only follows a few months or something. It's
Yeah.
not like it's a whole year. So I don't know. Yeah, the timeline with that disease just doesn't feel realistic. In saying that though, it was very emotional.
Yes.
It was definitely a heartbreaking way to finish the season.
And
the
Clay
series.
finally got to show his feelings towards Justin, which I've been waiting for like the last couple of seasons, because it seems like Clay is just a miserable shit the whole time, and Justin's trying to be his bro, and Clay's just like, yeah. And it was good to see them actually bond and interact like, brothers, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. So that was really nice to kind of get that.
But that's what was also heartbreaking about it, is that it took, Justin dying for him to finally open
Realize,
up. Yeah.
oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. So no, it was very, very sad to see Justin go. We really enjoyed his character, and especially after he's like started to redeem himself. The beginning of the season, he's cleaned himself up. He's it looks like he's got a bright future ahead of him, and for nothing.
Yeah.
Which was really sad. And oh my god, incredible performance by him.
Yes.
Brandon Flynn, is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
was
like
very
that
impressed.
was the strong point of this season, was the acting. And I think the whole series in general, like the acting has just been superb throughout. So we can't really fault it for that. I think it was just, what they were given, just that story, the plot, those kinds of elements that just went a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Just maybe, put a dampener on the last season, I think. And I think a lot of other people kind of have those same feelings towards it.
Yeah. But look, is there anything else we need to touch
I think
on?
that's about it. I think I hit the main points I wanted to talk about. Overall we did enjoy it.
Yes.
The only thing we didn't enjoy it, I know we kind of bashed it in the second half of this video, but we did overall enjoy it. The emotional beats were still there, the acting was still great. Just a couple of things that maybe just put a bit of a damper on it. But I think a lot of TV shows have trouble wrapping up their final season.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure just what that comes down to. I think because maybe you've got a whole lot of characters that you need to wrap up, and it's like, well, where do we take those characters and how are they going to interact, and so that we can fulfill all their arcs. And by doing that, sometimes it can get a little bit messy. I feel like a lot of shows kind of have that last season curse. But I think if you've seen the first 3 seasons, you definitely need to check this out just to wrap it all up, to see everyone's arcs fulfilled.
Yeah.
There's still some really good moments in there, some really good emotional beats. Definitely worth checking out still.
And look, the show made our top 10 Netflix shows of all time. Like there's a lot of great stuff on Netflix now, but 13 Reasons is just, it's up there.
Yeah, I don't think the last season changes that. I think it's still in our top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and if you didn't see that top 10 Netflix video, we'll put a link to it in the description below, so you can have a watch of that, see which number 13 Reasons made in that rank.
Yeah, make your predictions and then go check out the video.
But I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, so please let us know your thoughts on this season and this series in general in the comments below. Do you agree with all of our points? Do you think it, went a little bit over the top? Or do you think it's more based in reality than we think? Especially you guys there in the States, you might be able to shed some light on a couple of those things for us. So please let us know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell for notifications. Slam that like button if you like what we do. And most importantly of all, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.